class, I think you all read my bio. If you did not, I will just speak a few words about myself. So I have different focus in life. Right now, to be honest, my main focus is training for a half Ironman, but I won't talk about that today. The other focus I have in life is my job. Actually, I'm working in a utility company, trying to industrialize real estate renovation, which is the biggest emitter of CO2. Huge topic as well. That topic would be for the Q&A and then the breakfast afterwards. We can speak about that tremendously using data and all these things. That is quite important. So that's basically the boring thing that I do somehow. And some fun things. One is my brand, Desilk. So a bit of story about that. So I always wanted to be a fashion designer, but being from Asian origin, of course, my parents wanted me to be a lawyer or economist. My father was a banker. You can imagine the struggle. At some point in my life, I tried actually to do some fashion design. Went to Paris. Actually, I quit my fashion school in Paris because everybody was quite mean and the fashion industry in Paris is So came back to Switzerland, come back to architecture, major in architecture, work a few years in architecture, get bored, did an MBA because at the end of the day, my father was right, I love money. That will actually be quite relevant to the topic because I will link actually the pattern making design with the business side of it. Then actually went through different things in real estate and all. And at some point, my father introduced me to my business partner and we co-founded Desilk. So what is Desilk? Quickly about the brand. What we're doing, we have three pillars. One is nature, culture, and craftsmanship. So nature, because of course we're all really aware of the planet and all this thing and trying to actually give back to nature and take care of nature and natural product. Silk, for example. Hence the name, Desilk. Culture. Culturally in Vietnam, silk has been 1,000-year-long craft. It's part of the culture of silk, of the way people dress. It's still a material that we really use there. And silk, this is the thing. And craftsmanship. Again, you have a lot of craftsmen. I mean, they've been doing that for 1,000 years. Huh? So if you're not good at it, you should probably do something else. The thing is actually, in Vietnam, they started to do something else. As in other industries, where actually, many of these craftsmen, doesn't get a job anymore due to mondialization, all this thing, and lack of innovation within the industry itself. So the main goal of the company is actually to save all those family businesses that actually try to survive through all this. And those family businesses usually also make some villages. So by basically trying to help them, we help villages and that's more social kind of aspect of it. So as said, I always wanted to be a fashion designer, and that will come to the pattern side. Because at some points, we started the brand, I was super happy because I was able to do fashion design without having a fashion design degree, which is quite awesome. But then COVID hits. And then with COVID, big hits in revenue, not able to actually travel as much as I wanted. Trying to be difficult to actually do things. And that's when I switches to actually pattern making. That has also to do with the structure of business, particularly in Vietnam, where you have a lot of tailor guy. Basically, the thing is that when you're a customer in Vietnam, usually it's super easy to get with your Vogue magazine, tell the tailor, I want this dress, and they actually make you this dress perfectly, and they're really good at that. So being a fashion designer there, not that relevant at all. The thing is that to find actually good fabrics was quite difficult. So, and with COVID, I had no choice. And in the business side, it's also a matter of risk, because when you think about it, the risk I have if I outsource the tailoring of a shirt or something like that, if the shirt is not well made, That's on my cost. If I'm only doing like the fabrics and like the tailors screw up, it's on his side, not mine, and he has to rebuy. So then we actually like go to a business model of like only doing fabrics. I'm actually not a designer per se, so I have no clue about patterns. And I try to actually like think about, okay, what is pattern and how I can design pattern. As you can see, you've been wonderful student and wore like different patterns. Okay, so what do we need patterns actually? Because especially in the fashion industry, the easiest way in fabrics, you just tint the thing. Like you have plain clothes here, one color, it's easy. Yeah, but you want to be like individual and nice and so on, so that comes with like what we can see here. Like you have blason and things like that, and like you have like a logo or something you can put on. So I'm the king of something, and I put my, okay, that's good. But I want it to be replicable, because at the end of the day, I want people to buy my product, or like my company, or my army to actually have the same thing. The easiest way to do it is with stripes. Like really simple pattern, have hyper replicable, easy to actually produce and mass produce, and that's where you're making massive money. Technology evolves, and then you can have like more complex pattern. You can actually have like, and if you see you have like all those stripes, you know, all those like flowers, like kind of thing, it's always like a kind of repetitive motif. Again, I'm not a designer, so like all this thing of like having like a little square where you have to have all the angles that you can put like in every single position and that fits, it's a freaking headache. And I don't want to do that, like I'm not that smart. So what I thought is that well, actually like technology evolved. And we have now like less limitation in pattern making. A, for the size, because like we can do like much bigger thing now. It started with Hermes actually, like that did like the carré and like with serigraphy, biology, and flat wood. That's actually quite costly. You can do that. Look at the price of the Hermes carré. It's quite expensive. There's a reason for that. Every frame has like a pattern on it, and they have like printed layer by layer. Actually, like with like the 21st century, we actually explored like this limitation. We have digital printing, where you can print whatever you want. So you come from like a really repetitive kind of like way of doing things to a more and more unique way of doing things. I'll change this background so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, what you have, and especially for my clients in Vietnam, so I have a really high-end clientele. So when you have like, when you are in this kind of market, or like high-end client, they actually doesn't really want to have like the same thing as the people next door. They want unique things. That's why like digital printing comes into play. Because then I don't have like the limitation anymore of having like one fixed pattern that like I can repeat and things like that. And in terms of size, this piece of fabric here is about 2 meters and 60 long. So I don't have to think about all this thing. So I have like total freedom. And that's, I can actually like put this piece here and print it, and I can do it. Yeah, not really, because like I'm still doing like, I try to do like some fashion design at some point. And it has to be on the piece of first. And that's where my background as a fashion designer comes into place. And as a businessman somehow. Because the thing is that like the way I then structure like the composition of the piece is then structured in order to make different products, different like lines, symmetries and things like that that you can do many products about. Whether it is like shirts or like hoodies or other things like that. You can see 2 examples here of like it's the same fabric, 2 different, completely different products. You have like one scarf, for elegant, machin, blah, blah, and then like a hoodie, more ghetto-ish. And again, it's how you cut actually the patterns that makes it. And in terms of business, it was quite important for me because like it's a product, it's a physical product, so inventory is key. Your inventory will kill your business because that costs a lot. With that, actually, I have like almost like 0 inventories, and I can actually like cut the thing depending on the demand. And if like they just want like this one, for example, and having like just a little scarf, I can just produce them on the go. So I don't have like this problem of like having to have a huge stock of things. So that was my first approach about like the design making of like really figurative in this case. But what if we can go like one step further in terms of design and go to more abstract patterns? And that comes to like this kind of design that we did that is actually inspired by craftsmanship craft in Vietnam, which is egg lacquer. So taking like different details of like a technique of like lacquer, which is you take eggshell and lacquer them in different like mediums. So I took like these different like elements that I see and recreate actually like a more abstract pattern. Again, you can see lines that you can construct your fashion with, but in a more abstract way. As it is more abstract, if I took like only this place or this piece, actually nobody sees the difference. And you can do like very, very different products. Here, like a kind of bikini-ish thing, and like here, a dress. So, same piece, two really different products, but with one taste, which is quite efficient in terms of economy, if you think about it. So with that, again, I'm like pushing more and more like the boundary of the limitation that I have with patterns. I had like another limitation, which is the limitation in terms of people. Because all of that takes actually a lot of time to do. Huh? And then comes 2024 and the rise of AI. Okay, AI is like teenage sex. Huh? Nobody really knows about it. Like, everybody has already done it, but like really nobody knows what it is. So the best definition I had about AI was infinite inputs. Because the thing is that like it won't be as smart unless you're incredible like genius computer science guy, which I'm not. So it won't be like as smart as you are, but it will be like at least as smart as an intern, and you don't have to deal with human issues, which is quite good actually. So with that, like I actually like pass through like one of the other limitations that I have is in terms of number of variation I can make, and that make the AI do all the heavy lifting. Because again, if I retook like this design here, there's a lot of like back and forth, like some variants, something like that, and that's a lot of work. With actually AI, and for this collection, the topic was the flower of Tet. Tet being like the New Year's Eve of Vietnam, and you have like different flowers. So the collection was inspired by the flowers of So what I did is actually feed the AI machine with some of my patterns, so it knows what I kind of like. And then as an intern, I said to the AI, yeah, do variation on that. So it did like a lot of different variation, and I can then like start to work with it. So like really taking variation behind it. And with AI, like again, this is this kind of limitation that. And again, you still have like this kind of structure that you have like to make dresses. I will go through like this different example of what you can do. So that is again some of the things that we made. Maybe I will stop like just quickly on this one and elaborate a bit on it. Again, in terms of composition, you see like a lot of symmetries, a lot of like different elements and a bit complexity with like taking the gist of like the flower behind it. You can really see it here of like that's like the design for itself. You recognize somehow the petals, but you don't see it like per se. It's not a copy paste of the petals. that's the entire collection, and then the work is like really the work of like an artistic director to actually like see the coherence of the collection, if like everything fits together and like have like a kind of story behind it. And of course then with the possibility of like the three generation of women that are like so that comes to then the latest contracts that we had. So I actually signed a contract in January with the National Museum of Vietnam. So the next collection will be about the 9 treasures of Vietnam. And you will ask, what are the 9 treasures? So the 9 treasures are the following. So I won't name them because I don't remember the name because I don't have any memory. But you will see it's quite different artifacts of artists. So you have paintings, statues, lacquer art, paintings again, another statue. And you see different style, and if you learn a bit about like art history and all this thing, you see that there's a lot, and these artists, I mean, they're national treasures, right? So you don't have to, you cannot disgrace them. And again, like, and especially for this one, this is a tough cookie. Because if you look at like the way it's made, it's already super strong. And then what can I actually do to do like a collection of fabrics, a piece of cloth that is not a copy paste of this thing, and without like actually like not generating a thing that will disgrace you. So I started with the easiest one, which is like actually this one. And as for this one, again, and that's, I think that's where you can see like where the composition and what with technology we can do. So this is a wooden door that were on in the pagoda in Vietnam, out of wood. So you have like a lot of like woodmen that actually work a lot of that. And as you can see, it's not repetitive. It seems to be repetitive, but every single element is different. So you have like different patterns that you can recognize, like this kind of sword cloudish thing, a dragon, and things like that, but everything is different. And at least how to actually tweak it and like make it my own and make it fashionable. And again, the thing is that like I don't want to do copy paste. So like for this one, the idea was really to restructure it. And you can see like some architectural background behind it, like with like this round kind of room open kind of gist. To actually like take the gist of it, like retake like some structure, take a detail of like one of the pieces, and then replicate it and redesign it outside. And which made like one of the prototypes that we did, which is this traditional. So basically, my take on patterns is the following. I'm not really doing patterns. I would say that I'm doing non-patterns actually, because due to the fact that nowadays technology allows us to actually not doing replicable things like as we did before, which is quite a good thing because we can like then like expand the way we are doing. So that will be all for the little like talk. I want to share you with. Maybe one more thing, if you're interested to do, to actually buy what we've been producing. We have a little collection that is of hoodie that is actually at the at Desilk, which is a little boutique here in Lausanne. I will give you the address afterwards. And one thing about this collection, it also is a good opportunity for me to give back to like also charity. So every profit will be given to like students, so Palestinian students in Egypt that try to actually finish the studies and are, as you know, struggling right now. So also the profit will be like given to them. Thank you.
know. I'm sure in your exploration of arriving to the pattern that you want, you try several tools, and maybe you combine several tools in order to arrive to that. Which ones do you use?
So, what tools are you like thinking about?
For example, Midjourney.
So as for AI tools, like I'm using Midjourney right now because like I had some fun with it and like I could actually like do stuff with it. I think for my approach it was interesting to take Midjourney because of this kind of photographic like resource and the improvement in it. And actually like the interesting fact about Midjourney is that it's not an AI that is like really focused on pattern making somehow. It's more used like in photography and things like that. And as my line of work is more photorealistic-ish, kinda, it was more like suitable for what I was doing. And also laziness, and it was the first one that I came across.
So first of all, this was amazing, and the patterns are beautiful. I'm not hopefully the only one that wants to buy all the dresses. But what I wanted to ask is, this seems, I'm not super into the fashion industry, so it seems like this is quite a fresh take on what they are doing. I wonder, first, if you are sort of a pioneer of this is like an industry kind of way to go, and where do you want to go for your next level on that as well?
Okay, so again, when you think about like all my the story behind like Desilk and all this thing, again, if you think about fashion, like what are the names that comes into your mind? So it would be Yano, it would be like a friend of yours, this guy. But like, does one of you know the name of the guy that did the pattern of the like 2020 Saint Laurent dress? No, nobody gives a shit about it. And it's normal, it's not the same business, it's not the same thing. And that's why I was reluctant at the first place to actually like do patterns because let's face it, I have an ego as well. And I was like, no, I want to do fashion design. But at some point I think, like getting back at it right now, that might be something that could be interesting. And again, when you think about it and in terms of businesses, because at the end of the day, it still is a business and you have to sell. And the equilibrium or the balance that you have to meet is actually what is the cost to actually like serve your clients and do what you do. And if you think about like mass customization and everything, the costs actually go terribly low right now. When you think about like Hermes Square, like what it did before, it was unique because it was handmade. You have like 120, I don't know what, like wooden floor that has to be done by hand and everything. That is incredibly expensive. Digital printing, I don't need replicability because the cost of like printing like something that is the same versus every time something different is actually the same. And that gives a lot of opportunity in terms of design and in terms of actually like customization. And at the end of the day, like I think as for my market, so the really high-end market, it's definitely a differentiator. But then comes also like a big question about branding. And then how is branding? Because like you see everybody with like the Louis Vuitton kind of like square kind of thing and thing like that, and it's recognizable. And I think it's a matter of like education, also an education of the eye to be able to recognize like, okay, this is the pattern of mint. And honestly, I'm quite sure that like actually your customer doesn't like really think about it. They just want unique, beautiful things. And I think one of the things that could lead like changing the industry is this kind of mass customization. Mm-hmm. Because you have more and more affordable things, and if you think about like the work in fashion design, that what it could be in the future, because again, like right now, you like in terms of patterns and like fabrics, you're using a lot of digital tools. But if you start to combine them with also like laser cutting technology in terms to do like all the patron and all the things to actually do the dress. You can have like really fitted things that give with the shape of your body. When you think about like tattoo artists as well, that actually take into consideration like how your body moves and things like that, and you then translate that into fashion with a specific pattern, that could be one way of the future that it could be going. But again, that would be like the theoretical approach, and at the end of the day, it still is a business. So it's what are the clients willing to pay for it, and do they see some value about it? And if you start to value things, then yeah, maybe there's a market and there will be some. It still is driven by the market.
I have another question. As a fellow architecture graduate, how did you decide it's not something you want to do for your life? Like work as a trainer?
So that's a more broad question, but so while I was doing my MBA, I was educated in finance. In finance, in order to take less risk, I have a father which is banker, so I don't like risk. You diversify your assets, and that's actually what I'm doing with this side business. So I don't put like every bits of my soul into this business. That's a side business. It's a lucrative side business. It's a lucrative hobby, as I like it, but it's not the core of my activity. I still have core activity at my actual job. If you start to diversify a bit, like your investment of time in different things that you like, and having a kind of continuity of like what you're thinking and things that you like, you're less risky to have like a lot of struggle when there are like environment things, and by environment I think about like the volatility of our global environment right now that happen. I mean, if there's some, I don't know, some tariff on the silk importation, or like there are like different laws or that the Vietnam like close its border for any reason. Okay, fine. I cut that off my life. And so what? I have like other things to do. So that's not a big deal.
So, how many hours, like per week or per month, do you spend on stuff?
Yeah, and that's a funny question. So, not a lot. So at the beginning, of course, like, and especially working with Southeast Asia, knowing my business partner, that took actually a lot of time. So I would say it was like, it took like all my vacation for like the first 2 years. Now things are rolling, we have more experience, and also maybe I'm less dumb and a bit smarter. I would say that roughly last year, I think I spent like 2 weeks on the whole thing. And like the collection you saw, like the flower one, was made like in 4 days. Something like that.
Fasting time.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. That's my point. The thing is that like, then like all the things that I don't like to do, that is time consuming, that is not worth my money and knowledge, I outsource it. So I can be super efficient. So yeah, and I think that's also like a way of thinking about like efficiency within the businesses as well. Because I'm the most costly asset of my business. So I have to minimize my time if I want to do some profit. Because otherwise I will have another watch.
Can you describe the profile of the client or the buy from you?
Crazy, the profile of my clients?
Yeah.
Crazy rich Asian. No, crazy, like Bugatti, kind of speculative one, kind of like.
And for Europe?
For Europe, I don't export.
And how do you think that we can approach there?
So yeah, that's the thing. I don't like to walk, as you can assume by the time I actually like spend on like doing that. I'm kind of lazy, and I have like Ironman to train for, and that's quite time intensive. So and again, I think like as for the brand, I want actually the brand to establish itself first in Vietnam, which is quite important to me, and we actually have a lot of success like doing so, having like a lot of media exposure, national television, having half the number of the Senate that wore like our dresses and things like that. So I think we're doing a good job there. And exportation and going to a new market, another challenges. And it's cost, and again, I mean, we're not like $1 billion company, and like we have like 5 employees. We're not that big, yeah. So at the moment we try to stay in Vietnam. At some point, if like I'm starting to be like incredibly successful, maybe we'll export. So the next plan for this year would be to start with Korea and maybe the UAE, and then we'll see if we go to Europe. But that comes with like other constraints, legal, supply chain, and all these things. So that's a lot of work. And yeah. And again, in terms of impact, like that's the thing. We will see, and it is risky. I mean, it's fashion. Huh? The thing is that like from one day to another, you can go completely like out of trend. So I wouldn't invest personally a lot of money in this kind of industries.
Well, you use a lot of EI, right?
Not that a lot. So I'm using it like again as a heavy lifting kind of thing.
Yeah, but for the patterns you show, I understood you feed the EI to help you to create.
Yeah, so I feed part of it because I'm not completely done the pattern also. Because the thing is that like if I feed like and I generate all my pattern by AI, the proper. So actually all my AI are on Midjourney. So all my patterns are on Midjourney, and like you can steal it like quite easily.
Yeah.
Which then like ruins my competitive advantage. So I actually don't do that. So I feed like part of it, and then like as a human being, like then remake it my own at some point. So then there's less risk of like leaving over.
Yeah, because this is the big question now with the AI. Nobody knows to whom belongs whatever you create, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you can take from AI.
Sure, but and again, I think that there's also a shift in the industry. At some point, again, as a fashion designer and especially a textile designer, it's my freaking job to actually do like different patterns. And again, when you think about it and about the revolution of mass customization, like you don't have this thing of like I have an IP on one of my design. Again, that's my freaking job to do design. If I don't produce design, like I should do something else. And at some point, my business partner coming from like another industry, she actually wanted to patent like every of my design. That is incredibly costly. Takes a lot of time, energy, and for what result? That if like somebody like take my design, I then can go to lawsuits, pay a lot of lawyers and things like that. Come on, if I'm smarter, I just do like other design and like flood them with other design.
But there is, sorry, if I can, this is a very good point you say about the IP and, big, but now with recent technology, shifts, there is also NFTs based on blockchain.
Yeah, but
It
again,
doesn't cost that much and it can...
we are consuming. It's fashion.
Yeah,
But still,
this is your business, I was thinking...
Yeah, but still, like, for me, at some point, it's, again, if I take the reward cost ratio, again, it's not my core business to do that.
Yeah.
And then again, I don't think that my clients right now are really like keen to have it. I'm not Hermes, and I'm not a Marquis or like all these guys that actually have a high risk of being copied and have to have the proof that is their product. At some point, I have my clients. I actually know almost all of them, and they have with that. So like this trust is enough.
Do you tell your clients that AI is part of your process, and if so, how is it perceived by them?
And again, like the thing is that like, when you think about, so I tell them that it's computerized because like, again, nobody really understands AI. Because, and when you think about Photoshop, there's a part of AI. I mean, like, before the AI thing, I was scripting a lot of things, which is basically some kind of AI-ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, at the end of the day, like what the client sees is actually like all those patterns. Some point. Yeah, it's stuck, but yeah, you see what I mean. And like, they don't give the. I think the care they want to see in the process making, and that there was like a lot of works into that, is what is the value perceived and the uniqueness of the design. Again, you know the joke about Picasso and like Picasso just drew like little pictures like at a cafe and then like give it to a girl. What does it cost? Yeah. 300 million, something like that, and like the girl is, oh my god, but we took 30 seconds to make it. Actually, no, I took actually all my years. So that is like about 40 years of like design that is in my head that is like translated into that, and that's what you pay. But again, it's a matter of perception of value.
Yeah, I guess my question is that because you have a higher end clientele, they might perceive AI being part of your creative process as cheapening things.
Yeah, but the thing is that like definitely, and that's why like we are actually like quite fuzzy about it. And that goes with also like one of the other value proposition that we have, where that's like something we launched like what we will launch actually like this year. It's Mean as a Service. So they have like myself as a personal designer for a collection for their thing, and that would be like unique pieces that they have.
But if you think about photography, before used to have people painting kings and stuff, and then came the photography. On the beginning was also perceived like cheating, you know, because you are not painting, you are just clicking a button. But nowadays it's an art, it's not kind of art, because you need to have an art. So there is the way you use the.
And again, as a business side, it's a way that we can create value out of that.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm curious about the perception.
Yeah, but it's true. At the end, it's not true, but today, as nobody knows, it's a kind of.
And again, like,
yeah.
when you think about like actually what the clients want and what my clients want, they want uniqueness.
Okay, any last questions? Okay.
Talking about perceptions, how is it for you when you launch your brand in Vietnam? This fact that you are based in Switzerland, was it in your favor, and how did you explore it?
So, no, it was actually like, it was quite good. I mean, that this kind of like east-west kind of vibe, like it's really appreciated. Also, like, you know, like you have this thing in Southeast Asia where like everything that comes from Europe is kind of like nice, especially in fashion. You have like all the values which is true. So no, it was quite easy. And especially being in Swiss, you have like the precision. Yeah, in terms of storytelling.
Last question, and then he's around so we can chat afterwards as well. I'm just curious if there is like one celebrity or famous person that would be like the dream to wear your work.
My mom, but she already did. So again, depends on the market I want to target. So like right now, if and that's where my business side like comes into place. I would actually like want the influencers that has more reach like in the market I want to penetrate. So that way all that can like make me the most customers. So I don't have like somebody in mind. It's depends on the business strategy I have. So that's why I'm a bit different than like other like artists that I have a muse or thing like that. I'm much more business driven somehow. So it's as a luxury brand, like without paying those influencers and knowing that like most of the influencers are really expensive for no result. And you have like all those ways to do it, and that's why I actually like went to the government. We were lucky enough to have like a lot of connections with the government and to be able to actually have them as influencers. So and when you have like then politicians and like that started to become influencers, especially diplomats, then that helps actually like put you already like as a luxury brand for a fraction of the cost. Again, it was a cost of effectiveness and opportunity as well.
All right, thank you so much, Nick.